fighting, don't get love from me. Leave that to the little boys, you don't know. I took this clean.
Make sure to comment below and vote for who you think won this battle.
Yo, hello people. Ready to get started on my tier list tonight. I should be looking this way, which is where my tier list is, and also the camera. So let me know if the audio is okay here, if you can hear me and music's not too invasive down there. Not sure how the video resolution is either. But yeah, hi guys, welcome. This is James from wheeloftime. I usually make music, as you well know, as you can hear. But tonight I'm doing something a bit different. I've been really enjoying guesting on other people's live streams, and so I wanted to just talk to you guys and do a bit of a character tier list. Quality, not quantity at the moment. Can hear you fine. Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna get into this. I picked 75 characters of my top characters slash the ones I remembered first, because some of the lists just didn't have enough of the characters that I don't think get enough love. And then I added a few more actually at the end. So I think the total's now 83 or something. But yeah, let's get started. And you can see, just to go over in case there's anyone watching live or later on that isn't familiar with a tier list sort of concept. Tier list, we're just going to organize these characters into where I think they fit, from the worst rank, D tier, and then above that we got C, B, A plus plus, case 2 pluses, why not? I feel like I got that from a video game subconsciously somewhere, but I'm not sure, so let me know if you know what game I picked up A plus plus from. And then of course, not S tier, Steve tier, because Steve is the creator. Hey people, hey Ben, of course, Ben Butler in chat, and Matt Spooky Stabbing Stick, glad you're joining us as well. Pleasure to have you both here. Let's see how long it takes you to disagree with me. We're gonna start with Agolma. Okay, Agolma Jigad. So I like Agolma, but I feel like he's not enough of a full character to really examine on his own. I feel like he could have been used as a person, as a character, and for the plot. Is your ranking criteria, Ben? Yeah, that's good criteria. I think for me, it's if I was on their side, like if I was fighting for the side of the light, for example, in the case of Agolma, would I want to be his friend? That's kind of my metric, but but yeah, his effectiveness as a character towards the plot and stuff, all the stuff that has to be considered. Yeah, I'm just not sure if he's fleshed out enough for me. I think that he could be given, like, he could rise if he's done slightly differently in the show, maybe. Just, I don't know, there was that big gap in the middle of the story where he just wasn't really around, right? And apart from in the Eye of the World and at the start of the Great Hunt, we don't really see him again until later on when he becomes one of the great captains, and he doesn't really do that much as a great captain. So I think I'm gonna go with B on Agolma. But yeah, I have a limited rule on myself. There's less than 100 characters here. There's 83, I think. So if there's at any point, like, I'm not going to allow myself to have more than 20 characters in the same tier. So if I see that happen, yeah, point that out for me, guys. No more than 20 in a single tier, otherwise things are just getting silly. Because I know what this is going to get like as soon as I start adding more people. And let's get on with it. On to the next one. We have Alana. Okay. This one will... This is a tough one. See, I already like the... I already like the way they're taking Alana's direction in the show. In the books, she's a really interesting character, I'll give her that. Aside from the fact that she basically does the equivalent of, like, sexual assault, like, it's quite impactful, and she's the only one who has the gall to ever do that. And she considers it multiple times. She considers taking Perrin a water as well. I recently reread The Shadow Rising, so I went through those scenes with a different eye since seeing how much she's been emphasized in the trailer so far. So I don't know. I think the potential of Alana in the show might be skewing me to want to put her higher. And I don't think I probably, like, I wasn't even going to include her on my list at first, but, like, thinking about it, I think she's an A, and, yeah, fight me on that. Pretty sure I'm happy with her there. What do you guys think? Where do you think Alana should go? But I think she's probably at the low end of it. Yeah, she is entertaining. And she's not useless as a plot device, because it's relevant that Nynaeve has to save her when it comes to the last battle. So, like, she does have relevance from, as we've seen in the series very early on in the show, to, like, she's in the last battle, and what happens to her in the last battle is actually very important concerning the plot. So I think I'm happy over on here. Now Ludra would be Steve tier, but she's D tier because she chose not to sleep with Matt. That was good timing on the song in the background. So yeah, yeah, Ludra. No, I really like Ludra. She's a character who brings something that we don't get any other insight from, at least not as up close and personal as we do with Ludra. The Illuminators, right? We don't see a great deal of them through the series, but Ludra is the one that we keep coming back to. So she gives a real... Yeah, this is all going to be really tough, isn't it? Why did I decide to do this for my first stream? I could have covered news content. Like, I'm good at that, apparently, but we're doing a tier list. I'm putting myself through torture instead. Yeah, I feel like... okay, so I'm going to make an executive decision here and put her above Agolma, but in the B tier. I feel like if she'd had more of a relationship with Matt, and I really wish she did, because I so ship her and Matt over Tuon and Matt. But, like... yeah... I just wish fairly to close the deal with Matt, but she does make shit explode, and I want her higher. I want her higher, and you can't take her away from that just because she doesn't fuck a character I like. Yeah, this feels a bit harsh now, actually. It's not even her fault, really, is it? Because it's him who's otherwise engaged. she is like fully responsible for the dragons if you think about it as well. Like the dragons are pretty integral for the last battle, and her and Matt sort of make that together, so that does have to be taken into account. And yeah, I think the reason I wanted to put her lower is because I know there was potential for a relationship to be developed there that wasn't. And not because it actually has any slight on her character. Ben, you suspect in Sean-chan that that would be allowed? What you mean, like what? Just him having a mistress? A Ludra as a mistress? I don't think she'd agree to that. She'd be like, no way, no way. You don't want to share me. A Ludra would definitely not want to share that. Especially not with 2 on God. We'll get to 2 on later. Don't you guys worry at all. We will get to 2 on. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna put a Ludra in here. She makes dragons. She makes shit explode. Matt gets into the Stone of Tyr because of Ludra's fireworks. Let's not forget that. She's pretty awesome in Luca's menagerie, and the rest of it isn't. So there's that. I think I'm pretty comfortable with Ludra here, and I'm actually going to put her ahead of Alana, based on the fact that Alana's probably only so high because of, I think, of her potential in the show to be really strong, based on what I've seen of her so far. But yeah, Alana could easily take over there. On 2, she wouldn't be a second fiddle to anyone. You're right. A voice in the dark. Oh yeah, there's like a suspicion she might be a dark friend at first in that little, like a stable or something, right? Speaking of dark friends, spoiler warning for the series is down there somewhere, so you should see it. But yeah, speaking of dark friends, Alviarin. I feel like I might catch some hate on this one. I'm gonna put her in A++. Okay, and I'll explain my logic for this. She's a horrible character, absolutely twisted, but the way that she controls Elida, and even we as the reader don't fully see at first she's a dark friend. We see that Alviarin is like clearly the actual one behind the scenes running things in terms of that like Keeper and Amelin arrangement. We know that, but we don't know if she's a dark friend just yet. But Alviarin is the main contact we have with the Black Arja later in the series, and the main point of view we have from the Black Arja, and through her we also see Masana. And did I even include Masana? Let me check. See, that's a hot take right there. Masana is not even in my list, right? Because she's not in the story enough. But Alviarin does give us a look into seeing Masana, and I really like those aspects. I like the fact that the whole White Tower is trying to discover how to like travel and stuff. They're like, oh, the other side know how to travel, but we don't. What are we gonna do? Oh my god, no. And Alviarin's just there like, yeah, I know this a while ago. Just can't tell you guys. I think she could be better. She could be better written as a character, which is why she's not Steve tier. And yes, she is a terrible person. But I think she's very effective. Right up until the end, I think she's very effective at what she does. And an interesting antagonist that, unless I'm misremembering, doesn't ever directly encounter anyone, but does pull the strings behind the scenes the way you would expect a Black Arja to. So, yeah, that's my opinion on Alviarin, and I'm going to put her in A++. Moving on. Just so I can overtake Alviarin and to mix it up a bit rather than just doing them alphabetically, let's do Bella, because come on guys, you know this is an Easy, straight to the top of Steve tier. Didn't even have to think about it. Wish I had to do it in just one click, but not 2 clicks like I actually did by accident. But yeah, Bella, obviously, top of Steve tier. Got to be, right? I'm guessing there's a bit of... I'm still catching up with, like, the delay and stuff of what's going on with you guys as well. So, yeah, this is my first stream. Hope you guys like it. Give it a retweet and a share and stuff, and let's get some more people chatting in here. But, thank you for being here, the people who already are. Matt Spooky Stabbing Stick Masana is your favourite Forsaken. She's the only effective one. I don't know if I agree with that. I do think she is effective, but I don't think we see enough of her for me to justify her as a character. Rather than just something we're told about that happens off screen. I think if Masana was more on screen, but obviously still with the identity covered, then yeah, she could be a really strong character, and she could be if she's played up in the series, and I really hope she is, because she's an interesting one. But on the page, I don't think there's enough of Masana for me to judge her as a character, really. But yeah, she is effective, at least behind the scenes. Yeah, so we got Bella at Steve tier. I don't need to explain this. I'm getting emotional thinking about Bella dying, man. I hope they change that for the show. That's the one thing I want them, like, desperately to change, is Bella not dying, please. Come on, we've got to love Bella. Can't put down Archie the horse. But yeah, I mean, from the beginning of the books, right, to Cal carrying Oliver through the last battle, like, Bella is the unsung hero of the story, and undoubtedly S tier. But we'll get back to the start of the list, and we got Androl here. I quite like Androl, and people might disagree with me on this, I'm not really sure. What? Bella died, didn't she? You telling me Bella didn't die? Yeah, I thought she got, like, cut down on the way, right? When she's carrying Oliver with the horn. Oh my god. I'm sure Bella died. Y'all are fucking with me. Y'all are fucking with me. Yeah, Androl. Yeah, I quite like Androl, and I know a lot of people have trouble with some of Sanderson's writings later in the series, and I can't say I'm a Brandon Sanderson fan. Like, not that I dislike his writing, I've never even read it, other than The Wheel of Time. So, like, I'm not a Brandison. Ooh, that's cool. A Brandison fanboy. That's what I was gonna say. A Sanderson Brandon Sanderson fanboy. God, that's a tongue twister. I'm not one of those people. But I do quite like Androl, and I like that he introduced somebody new with knew that had an aspect of the series that Brandon wanted to focus on that John could have expanded further but didn't. I really love the scenes with gateways, the volcano coming out of Dragon Mount, and like freezing a body or something, where he just takes a body and like shoves it on the snow to freeze them. Harriet made them update it so she lives. Wow, okay, I will. I've got the companion. It's on a shelf over there, but I will check that after this stream's finished. So yeah, Androl, love the gateway stuff. Love the one thing I'm unsure about is, doesn't he like open a gateway and balefire goes through it and comes out behind people? I might be wrong, but I think it's balefire. If it's not balefire, if it's any other channeling, then it makes perfect sense and it's a great move. But if he balefires through a gateway, then wouldn't the gateway just disappear? Don't know. But yeah, I like Androl. I think he's a really strong character, and I love his interactions with Pavara, as Ben said in the comments. Yeah, Pavara's on this list too, and their bond together is another fascinating dynamic. And even the fact that like Androl's introduced, and like he has an entire backstory, and like the chapter is introduced, and it doesn't feel like you have to wade through it. You know, it's cool. Like he has a cool story. And you kind of have to root for the underdog as well, don't you? You feel sorry for him not being able to do much. So, and actually, the more I think about it, I'm moving Androl up. I really like Androl as a character. Probably not quite as much as Alviarin, but I do really like him as a character. Right, so moving on here. How's everyone doing? You enjoying the stream so far? Hope it's good. I'm just sort of chilling. Aram. Fuck Aram, man. This is a not safe for work stream, by the way, if y'all didn't realise. I don't monetize my videos, so I don't care about swearing. Although I usually do censor it on the channel, but we're talking characters here, so we've got to get into it deep. I'm just reading chat, sorry. Yeah, Aram. I can't stand Aram. He's just a terrible character, right? Like, I mean, it's cool that he, like, is the only Tinker we see that changes his ways, but he doesn't do anything good with that. Like, he learns the sword and then stabs the man in the back who... Well, ooh, that's weird. Double me on screen. Don't like that at all. Yeah. Worst decision I ever made, putting that at the end of my videos, but... Anyway. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of Aram as a character. I'm kind of sad that he's cast in the show, because that means that we have to put up with him for, I don't know, 4 or 5 seasons, and that sucks. Unless they make his character significantly better. But yeah, I'm really not a fan of Aram, and I think I'm pretty comfortable shoving him into my D tier as the first person there. Okay. Chat, do you want to pick who I do next? Keep going in alphabetical order, and I'm thinking we should do something a bit different. So I'm gonna ask you all what. I'm gonna ask you all who you want me to pick next. Aram is disappointment. He takes one extremism and embraces another to his stupidity. Yeah, like he's just dumb, right? Like he doesn't do anything effective through the whole story. Parallels the glass columns, and I like that, but they could have played that up much better. Like they could have made it so that he could have turned on Perrin by dropping his sword and saying, I can't do this, I'm going back to the way, or something like that. Or he could have not picked up the sword, but picked up a spear, and, like, started hanging around with Gaul or something. So yeah, I just thought I'd talk about what you guys were saying in chat there for a moment, while I'm waiting to see who to put next. We get Gothmin. Why is Min at Goth? She's kind of gothy there, I guess. Alright, so Slayer and Min will do next. I'll do both of those. We'll get those both up here. Okay, so Slayer. Slayer first. Now, I am not too hot on Slayer. I feel like for a lot of the story, he is rather insignificant. Near the end of the story, he becomes significant. I guess he is significant early as well, but he's just such a pompous fool as Lord Luck that I can't take him seriously, and I can't imagine why anybody would take him seriously. Like, it annoys me that people in the Two Rivers are listening to Lord Luke and thinking he's giving them great advice and shit, and not just going, who the hell is this fool? Get out of here, man. Get out. They should have my accent as well, by the way. Two Rivers is like, get out. Proper Yorkshire. But yeah, I'm not too big on Slayer. I mean, obviously he's sort of the antithesis of Perrin. He's the enemy that constantly gets fought with Perrin, but he disappears for so long, and his backstory sort of seems shoved on and tagged on at the end rather than built in an organic way. I think I'm gonna have to put Slayer in C tier. You hate Slayer, but the fact you hate him means he's doing pretty well as a villain. See, I'm different. I don't think I hate him like I hate him as a character. I hate like how people take him seriously, because they shouldn't, and it's too obvious to me that he's an idiot or that he's not doing things for their good. And maybe that's on the Two Rivers folk, not on him. But yeah, I'm not that with Slayer. They could make him better. The fights in Teleran Riod are pretty cool. I will agree with that. But yeah, as a villain for me, I don't get why he cares about Perrin so much and antagonizes wolves. Like, that's just kind of weird, man. What are you doing out here? Why are you out here killing wolves for? Like, what did they do to you, man? Really? And then just sort of dies in the end. We're talking about Slayer right now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fight me if I'm wrong, but I got Slayer in C. And I'm guessing you really like him, because you asked me to pick him, Ben. But for me, he's down there. He's not one of the most interesting characters. Yeah, but I say that says... Sorry, to Matt Spooky Stag, the Hopper's killing ×2 just gets me. Yeah, I get that. It gets me too. But I'd say that's a testament to Hopper's character, not Slayer. If Slayer's most important attribute is the fact that he makes us like another character, then bit suspect to me. And yeah, here's Sarah Maidens, whichever one it is. It might be Mary Lou. Guessing it's probably Sarah. Hi, welcome. Nice to have you here. So far, we've got just a quite an even spread through the tier list, and we'll bolster it up a bit further by adding Min. Now, Min's going at the top of A++. So far, at least. I love Min. Not just like I would fall in love with her very easily in real life, yeah. But I love Min as a character. I love how intelligent she is, how she makes her contribution to the Dragon Reborn's education and philosophical viewpoint. Without Min, Rand would have no love to seek on Dragonmount. Honestly, Min does so much for the story, does so much for Rand, for his mental well-being, for his worldview, and she, like, pretty much, she goes after him from the start. As soon as she sees that she's going to have to share him, and make sure that each of the women can contribute what they need to that relationship in a way. And yeah, Alviarin and Androl are my A++ so far, and I did, you know, I went into them, and they moved around a bit, but that's where they're hanging right now. Min is above them though. Min is a phenomenal character. The more I think about her, the more I'm thinking she's probably actually an S tier, a Steve tier character. It's tough though. It depends. Like she could move depending on how full this Steve tier gets, but hopefully it doesn't get too full, right? Well, I know she's an easy A++. I just don't know if she's an S. But I feel like, am I really putting Min below Bella? But Bella, like, it's so hard. Yeah, you guys have the easy job here. You get to disagree with me, have fun, and joke around in the comments. I have to actually make these painstaking decisions and try and explain myself. But it's great fun so far. It's great fun. And maidens, if you wanna pick a character for me to do next, I will do Asmodean next. But yeah, I'll by the time I've done Asmodean, you'll have probably picked one of these, and I'll go with that one next. Top of A++ is fair. Top of A++ is fair for Min. And like I say, she could shift around. Yeah, I have to see where more of the characters start landing before I figure out exactly where she goes. Asmodean. I think I'm going to put Asmodean at the top of it, and I really like Asmodean as a character. I think he has a fascinating tie to the story. He's the only Forsaken that we see have his Cord with the Dark One cut. He essentially turns to the light and returns to the light. Whether or not it's forced, he does, and begins to shoot around. And he could have been like a real force of power for the light if he hadn't been shut down by who we know to be Grendel now. I think the fact, I think I would have liked him to stick around a bit longer, and he could be a higher up character in the list for me if he'd stuck around for another book or two. But for the time that he was in the story, I really enjoyed Asmodean, and I wanted more of him, both when he was openly Asmodean and when he was Jason the Tail. I find some of Jason the Tail's masquerading to be some of the most interesting undercover work in the Wheel of Time. But he could have, if he had a bit more to do, not necessarily in terms of teaching Rand, but just in terms of contributing to the side of the light, then he could rise higher. I think I'm pretty confident with him there. And it's not just because I'm a musician. But yeah. Sexy sad boy musician. Exactly. You've seen DJ Asmo. You guys know what my internal, like, image of Asmodean is. So, like, he's basically me. Goth Asmo. Yeah, I can see Asmo with, like, a, you know, Sex Pistols type, or Sid Vicious look, you know, like this guy for Asmo. I mean, obviously not, but I can see him as like an emo punky type thing. Also, everyone who's here, by the way, Danny DeVito for Elder Hammond, make it happen. So Sarah, you said Beldum. Yeah, that is of course an easy one. Jesus, you've really given me an easy one there. Okay, Beldum. He's already at the top. Obvious Steve tier. Come on, guys. I don't need to explain this, right? Like, BDE. He's got BDE. He's got that big Beldum and energy. What did you guys think? Yeah, Beldum and energy, like, he's just phenomenal throughout the whole story. Absolutely love Dominant. Every time he pops up, I'm like, yes, more of this guy. Give me more of this guy. I really hope they don't cut him. I'll be sad if they cut him from Season 1, because I think he does deserve an introduction that early. And I think just showing us his character in that early scene, it lets us trust him when we see him talk to the girls later in Falma. And then it lets us trust him again when he meets the girls in Tanjika. And then he goes off with Egianin, and then that lets us trust Egianin because she's with Bale, and we know that Bale do be a badass motherfucker. And he do have the badassest grandma, aged grandma, in all of time. So Bale's got to go in Steve tier for me. And he does have a great back and forth with Eganin as well. Like, I find them, like, he brings up Eganin's character for me in a lot of scenes, because not him directly, but his interactions with her allow her to showcase a side of her that makes me like her more. And I appreciate that, yeah. So I'm really hoping they don't cut him. I've not seen anything about him in Season 1, not seen any ships or out in the teasers, but I hope we get Bale. A more controversial one, Elaine. Okay. Elaine is a more controversial one. And I have to think about this one. Okay, so I'll talk as I'm before I figure it out, because that'll help me figure it out, right? I should probably do it this way, rather than just dropping them in and then talking about it. So Elaine. Okay, she's important for a lot of reasons, and integral to many of the plots in the story. She suffers a lot in the slog, I'm not gonna lie. The slog is tough, and a lot of it is tough because of Elaine and Perrin, and Fail, but we'll get to those two in a bit. She has an interesting relationship with Avienda, and I hope they explore that more in the show too. I do think they are more together than Eva is with Rand. And I don't like her relationship with Rand as much, but I did think it was developed better than probably a lot of people give it credit for with those scenes in Tier. I just don't particularly see them together as much. They're like a power couple, but like Rand's not looking for a power couple, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't want that in life. He just wants to chill somewhere, and Elaine very much is the antithesis of that. She wants to be powerful and be good, and her taking the throne is a Game of Stones, just saying. Yeah, I do like it. It was just too long and drawn out for me. I do like her intimacy with Rand and with Avienda, and like I say, I want that to be explored more. I think for me, she's going to go in the A tier. Yeah, probably at the top of A tier. Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, Maidens. That she's very smart and kind of early season, or early books even. But post-pregnancy, Succession Lane is tough to read. Yeah, I'm with you, but she's very impressive at commanding the armies of the light as well, and I have to give her credit for that. Even though I didn't enjoy reading her POVs as a character, she's very effective, and as a part of the plot, I do really like her. So yeah, I think I'm comfortable with her at the top of it, and I think Ciara Coveney or Kiara Coveney, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, who's playing her in the TV show that we know for sure now. I think ever since I first saw her like headshot, I thought she is Elaine, and since what we've heard of her confirms that to be the case, so I'm looking excited to seeing her portrayal of Elaine. I want to see her and Yosha on screen together, like with a flirting look in their eyes, but Egwene's also there, a bit angry for some reason. So yeah, I'm excited for Elaine probably more in the TV show. Depending on how excited for the potential she has in the TV show, obviously. I don't know much about the show yet. Haven't seen anything more than you guys have. But yeah, Elaine at the top of here. And I'll move on next to Avienda. So Elaine's near sister. Not near sister. What is it? Sister wife? Is that it? I don't want to get it wrong. Don't want to offend any Aiel. Definitely not something you want to do. Yeah, I think I'm the same, Matt's Spooky Stabbing Stick. Like, I'm hoping the show will help me like her more, and I think it will with her casting, because, I don't know, there's just something about that girl. There's something about her. But, yeah, Avienda, of the Nine Valley Sept of the Tardad? I don't know, I might have just made that up. I think that's where she's from. Avienda is a solid character, but she's also a character that annoys the hell out of me. She's so powerful, so intelligent, so fiery and feisty. Oh, so annoying. I just, honestly, like, I love Avienda. I would fall in love with her in a second, in real life. But reading about her perspective almost kind of put me off the Aiel for, like, just reading about them. Like, I thought the Aiel were just boring for so long because Avienda presented it to Rand in such boring terms when she was tutoring him. And I know that's just part of the plot and it's not really a reflection of her character, and we get to see a lot more of her character for so long later on. But early in the series, the way she's introduced to me is just a very obvious love interest that we're not meant to think is a very obvious love interest, that is just very boring, dull, and can't admit that she likes him. Later in the series, I think she improves a lot. I think in the latter half of the series, she's solidly A++ or Steve tier for me. Like in the last battle, and some parts between that as well. Just as her character gets more developed, she rises essentially. But she did have such a boring intro to me. I don't know. I didn't really care about her when she first popped up. Maybe I'm hating, but I'm gonna put her next to Elaine for now in A tier. I feel like if she has a stronger introduction in the show, then she could have that same potential as her later character does. But she just annoys me so much early on. I don't know what it is about her. We're getting through this. I'm gonna have to start speeding up a bit, I think, because 45 minutes already, and I've got like, what, 10 people in this list? Alright, I'm gonna power through a few of these guys. So if you have votes on who you want me to pick next, then go ahead, bang them out in chat, keep going with it if you can remember who's actually on the list, and I'll just keep going with whoever you guys tell me to. If not, I'll just go in order, but I'm gonna try and blast some out here. Bane and Chiad. Right, I've put these two together because they come as a pair. You never see one without the other, or very, very rarely anyway. And to be honest, I'm quite a big on Bane and Chiad. Bane and Chiad make File more of an interesting character just by being around her. And interacting and laughing whenever Perrin does something wrong or whatever. They don't quite have as much relevance in the greater plot from what I recall. Correct me if I'm wrong though. If Ben and Giad do some incredible shit in the last battle and I just forgot. I have only read the last book once so far. Bane and Giad, I think, are... I feel like if Avienda had been introduced with Bane and Giad's like level of banter and humour, I would have liked her a lot better. Even though they don't do very much for the story. Like, I think they are in this same tier to me, at least. Thanks for coming, Sarah. I'll probably still be going when you're done, if you're around still. It's taken a while, this one. But yeah, okay, I'm going to put Bane and Chiad in the bottom of A tier, because I really love them as characters, even if they don't have too much relevance to the greater plot. And I think they're probably the most interesting, humorous insight we get into the Maidens, at least through some of the earlier books. Balwa, and then any White Cloak. So Balwa, I'm going to have at B tier. Now, I like Balwa. Kind of hard to talk over Uno's cursing. I like Balwa. He's a cool character and he's very useful over the course of the series. He does a lot for... I was just reading chat, sorry. Yeah, he does a lot for a lot of the main characters in the series. Obviously, Pedro Nile's not a main character, but he moves on with Perrin afterwards, and I really like that. I like that it's a link from... Like, it's a genuine link from the White Cloaks, where Morgase was, to Perrin, where they end up with, like, hiding as maids. It's a genuine link to me, and I like that. I like that he doesn't come in and go, hey, I'm an important person, I can do this for you. He just, like, comes in and starts being helpful, and just is steadily more helpful as the series progresses. I don't think he particularly does anything of an absurd magnitude that warrants him ranking higher, but Balwa is a solid character, and yeah, he does it go a long way towards explaining Pedro Nile as well, who I believe is in my list, and here he is. We'll get him on as well, because I was asked for a White Cloak. So, Pedro Nile, yeah, I think I'd put him in the same category. And him and Balwa do kind of go together, but Balwa gets much more of a story later on. Personally, I know this is probably higher than some people might have Pedro Nile, but I really love him. I think he's a fascinating character. I think he's one of the only White Cloaks that we see actually with a shred of intelligence. He's got actual brain cells, guys. He has a plan, and he is actually trying to fight the last battle for the side of the light, however misguided he is in doing so. I really like Pedro Nile. I felt it when he died, even though we'd only just met him a few chapters ago, and I hated all of the White Cloaks, obviously. But I think he's a strong character. I put him at the bottom of B for now. But yeah. Pedro Nile, Balwa, both in B. And let's see if we can find another White Cloak here. If there is any. I didn't have many White Cloaks in the list. Okay, we got Gia from Bornhold. So I put Giafram in and not Dane, because fuck Dane. But But Geofram I really like. He is another example of a white cloak who actually seems to have some shred of honour or moral code. He doesn't just do things because he has the power to do them. He does what he thinks right. And again, he may be wrong on what is right, and to be honest, that's subjective, but I think he does try to act with a certain degree of honour. He's not obviously not around for very long, so I can't say he has a massive impact on the series, but his death does, because his death is what sends the White Cloaks after Perrin in the first place, because, you know, Dane and Bayer twist the whole thing of Perrin killing him. I feel like he has to go quite low because he's such a minor part in the story. But I do actually really like him as a character, and appreciate that look at the White Cloaks. Because, yeah, Geofram, Pedro, and Bauer, they're probably like the only White Cloak people I have here, other than Galad. Because I'm really not big on the White Cloaks, and why would you be? They're assholes. Also here, Tavern Tavern, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the first stream. We're cracking through this list, and speaking of which, I'll stop talking about Geofram Bornhold, who probably nobody gives a fuck about. Let's see what chat was saying here. So, do some obvious choices. Nynaeve, Gawain. Yeah, okay. So I'll do some of the obvious choices. We'll get through them. Hey, Black Power Podcast as well. Thanks for tuning in. We're doing a tier list of characters, and this is how it's looking so far. I have 83 characters in this list, and if there's any particular character you would like me to put into my tier list next, let me know, and I will do it with all speed and alacrity. And of course, please chat away and tell me why I'm wrong about all of these hot takes so far. Other than Bella, you're not allowed to dispute this in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, get some of the easy ones out of the way, one of you said. So yeah, let me grab a Nynaeve here. And she's not staying there, don't worry guys. Yeah, Nynaeve, what can I say? One of my favourite characters in the series. Probably only gonna be Matt above her. I mean, we're not counting Bella. Maybe I'll just put Bella at the bottom of S tier. She's just like, she's in her own tier, right? But you know, Nynaeve's probably behind Matt as one of my favourite characters of the series. Oh my god, how amazing is Nynaeve? She starts off horrid, angry at everything. We're not meant to like her, but for some reason we do. She gets the one good romance in book 1 that expands it in such a beautiful direction as the series goes forward. She learns her own problems and her own insecurities and figures out how to combat them and to actually turn them into strengths, and becomes comfortable with who she truly is. And she does so many phenomenal, powerful things, helping to cleanse the source, helping to, discovering the cure for stilling and gentling. There's not enough to say about why Nynaeve is at the top of this list. Or very close to the top of this list, definitely in Steve tier. And yeah, I've actually kind of just got goosebumps and shivers thinking about how sick Nynaeve is. Pull my sleeves down. Will he ride alone? Exactly. You know, the golden crane flies for Tam and Guidon. Chef's kiss. Perfect. Got to love Nynaeve, and that was an easy one to get out of the way. And your other easy suggestion to get out of the way was Gawain, right? I don't mind Gawain. I don't like him. But I don't mind him. He's not that bad. Like, he's a dumbass. He's a real dumbass. But aren't we all? Especially when we're in our formative years. No, I was, shit. Still kind of am, but, like, he had to make a lot of tough decisions, and he made the wrong one time after time after time. But he didn't mean to. He was just wrong. And I almost feel sorry for him in a way. But yeah, I don't think he's a D tier. I don't hate him like I hate Aram. Aram's just terrible. Like, Gawain makes sense as a character. As a human, he makes sense. But I don't like him enough for me to put him in B tier. I'd say B is like my average. Yeah, this person is a valuable contribution to the story. I can't say Gawain's not. I can't say any of these people are not a valuable contribution to the story. Okay, C's my valuable contribution to the story. B is my I am glad this person is in the story. A is, of course this person has to be in the story. And A++ is, this person brings a really interesting aspect to the story. That's how I'm doing my ratings. And then Steve is obviously like just God tier, and D is trash tier. He was programmed to not understand decisions, has plot points but provides contrast. Yeah. I get that. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with Gawain in C. We'll move on from that, and Black Tower Podcast suggested Loyal. Hello, don't try and give me a boner. Let's get this boy where he deserves to be. Get in place. Loyal, I've got him in Steve tier. I fucking love Loyal. I can't wait to see him. He is my... You're going to say that these are actually going to be, to the best of my ability, ordered from left to right as well, guys. So there's not going to be many people above above Loyal and Nynaeve here. Probably just the one, and I'll do that one next. Loyal is amazing. Just like Matt, he refuses to admit he's a hero, even though he is one of the biggest heroes of them all. And one of the biggest, friendliest heroes of them all. He is, of course, like, he's loyal in name and nature. Oh, I can't wait to see Hamed Animation playing him in the TV show. I don't know what sort of effects they're going to go with or how it's going to look, but I am so excited, and I'm so glad that we know he's going to have a relatively stable role in the show. I cannot wait for Loyal. Like the wind, he came. Like the wind, he touched everything. And like the wind, he was gone. I'm getting emotional. Who knew this could happen? Yeah, I have emotions, guys. Steve tier, easy. He can sing as well. Quoted, yeah. Loyal, right up there with Nynaeve. And I'll do the only one that's going to be above them, I imagine. Which is Matt. Now, Matt has always been my favourite. I identified with him a lot, I related to him a lot. I always sort of was a bit of a rogue, but really got up to probably more no good than anything else. I liked how he was the ladies' man, but he was never pushy with it. He appreciated women who appreciated him. I think there's not much bad you can say about Matt, other than in the first 2 books he acts like a dick, but that's not him, that's the dagger, so I'm not mad about that. But from, you know, the Dragon Reborn, and you can see hints of his personality early as well, but from the Dragon Reborn onwards, who is ever sad for a Matt chapter? Who's ever sad for a Matt chapter? I'm not, ever. Like, if you could get a book that was just Matt's parts, I would love to read that just to see how it reads with like none of the other characters interwoven in. That'd be really interesting. Like for a lot of characters, that'd be interesting. But me as a huge Matt fan wants it to be of Matt. Taverin Taran's asking, do I think they'll do the full look or pull a Hagrid? I never read the Harry Potter books, and I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. So, but I think he was smaller, maybe, or was he meant to be different in some other way as well? I really don't know. I hope he has big ears that twitch when he gets nervous. If he doesn't have big ears that twitch when he gets nervous, what does he have? Like, I mean, that's like his most physical characteristic, right? And big bushy eyebrows, hopefully, as well. I can't remember who I was actually talking about. I think I was on Matt, but yeah, Loyal as well. He was just an oversized human, and was it not meant to be an oversized human? He was meant to be a half giant. Okay, right, okay. Yeah, I hope they don't make Loyal just a big human. I hope, like, he's an Ogier. With a big nose and big twitchy ears and bushy eyebrows. And a slow, melodic way of speaking almost, and a big boom in his voice even when he's whispering. Like, I need everything from Loyal, please, please, and let's see him soon. If you have any faith. It's impolite to discuss Ogier ears in a public space. Not if we're, like, being nice about them, right? Not if I'm, like, saying it gets me going, a bit of Ogier ears. While we're on Ogier, I'll bring this up again for the second time this stream, but the first time since Black Tower Podcast has joined and Tavern has also joined, and who knows who other people are watching at this point. Danny DeVito for Elder Hammond. Tell me this man in that picture is not Elder Hammond. Okay, well I went too far there, didn't I? But tell me that's not Elder Hammond, you can't see him. Come on. Come on, guys. You know you want it. Alright, let's get back to this tier list. I should have put Elder Hammond on this list. Alright, let's get to one that's a bit more a bit more of a discussion. And you might notice here that I have 2 entries for a single character. But he is reborn, and this is the only character I've got 2 entries for. But I think they are deserving of their own individual looks as a character. Because Ishmael, and Balsamon by extension, is very different to Mordian. He's the insane version, right? He's the version that's gone absolutely nuts and doesn't know what to do anymore. So Ishmael's nuts, but he's effective. He runs the Dark Friend Social, which I cannot wait for. Hope we get to see that. Hope it's like a cold open or a trailer even for season 2. Just like a completely separate thing that never occurs in season but is a trailer. That'd be dope if the Dark Friend Social was that. But yeah, Ishmael I've got as Balsamon Ishmael this side of the early books. Before Rand defeats him in the Stone of Tyr. And I really like him. He's effective as a character. I don't like that he shows up 3 times and just gets beat over and over again. That's a bit lame, so he does go down on my list for that. But he's invades the dreams. He introduces his dream shards. He introduces Zamara. He is the reason for a lot of the history in the world. for Ata Hawkwing, War on the White Tower. He's the reason for a lot of things happening, and including the start of our story, the beginning of the Wheel of Time, or a beginning of the Wheel of Time. Like, he's the one who sent the Trollocs there, right? To Emond's Field, so kind of kicks off everything. If you want to make a Game of Thrones comparison, this is the Bran being pushed out the window moment, is Ishamael sending Trollocs and Fates to Emond's Field. So I'm going to put him as an A. I'm going to have him lower than... I'm going to put him right here in A. But Mordian, I think, is a phenomenal character. I really do quite like Mordian. I think he's the only Forsaken who truly understands what's going on and what the Dark One wants. I think he's the only one who doesn't just want power, he just wants to die. And the closure you get with that ending with Rand, like, it really... Don't know if y'all could hear that, but I think there's a helicopter outside. I hope they're not looking for me. Yeah, I was talking about Mordian. I think he belongs in the Steve tier. I can't pick any faults in his character. He's really interesting. From the moment he first appears on page and you don't really know who he is, you want to know more about him. And to think that he's someone that we already met in the earlier books and spent so long with as Balsman, but just the sane version, the version that knows how desperately forsaken he is. He knows he's Forsaken, not chosen. He's the only Forsaken that knows he's a Forsaken. Put it that way. So yeah, I got Mordian up in my A tier. It's hard to put him like higher than these other characters because he's evil. But I think he does deserve to be, as a character, probably higher. Up in the Steve tier. Right, so Basil Gill. I'm not going to keep grabbing these and dragging them over just for a moment. I'm going to be talking while looking downwards because I'm rolling a zoo. But don't worry about that. I'm still going to be going through them. And I'm still going to be looking at chat and talking to you all. Thanks, more people for turning up, by the way. It's great to have you all hanging out here. Basil Gill. What a fucking warrior. What an absolute legend. Hey, Wine Spring Cafe, welcome to the stream. Pleasure to have you. Basil Gill is like top tier. Top tier. Innkeeper. If this was an Innkeeper's tier list, Basil Gill would be right at the head. I don't think I can give him that honour in this list, but I do really like him. I think his when we first meet him, we obviously love him. He introduces us to Loyal, who is one of my favourite characters. I love the fact that people were scared of Loyal, and Basil Gill was like, "Oh, go hang in the library. No one will bother you there." That made me trust him as a reader who didn't know who to trust after just going on this initial journey with Random Matt and all the troubles they have on the road. I didn't know who to trust. And when Loyal was in the library and said that Basil Gill told him no one would bother him so he could just chill there, I was like, oh my god, they've found a place of safety. And it was such an amazing moment that I've always loved Basil Gill. The fact that he then goes and teams up with Talonvor to free Morgase from under a Forsaken's grasp, then does the same thing again from the White Cloak's grasp. Oh my god, Gill, yeah, Basil Gill's got. Damn, this is yeah. Ben's just said in chat. Gill is A or A++. Holds his own with Perrin at arc and stays involved. Super reliable. Yeah. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I am like confident of Basil Gill right there. Like, if you were in the world of the Wheel of Time, would you want Basil Gill on your side? If the answer is yes, and it is, then that explains why he is currently sat in A++, above Avienda, Elaine, Ishmael, as Mordian, and all these other main characters. I love the fact that we've got Basil Gill up here in A++, baby. Oh, wow. Okay. Moving on, we've got Davram Bashir. Oh, Lord. I love Bashir as well. He's a great character. You hear mention of him early on, and then he just sort of pops up in Camelin, and he's like, "Hi, Rand! I have an army!" And Bashir's cool. Like, he's a really important part of the story. The whole, before the last battle in Andor, where Davram Bashir's a dark friend. I was like, what? Like, I already kind of thought I knew what was going on, but just that line was like, no, take it back right now. There's no way Bashir's a dark friend. Take it back, Jordan. Or Sanderson, whichever one it was. Yeah, I'm pretty big Bashir fan. I don't think he really deserves to be above anyone else in this tier. Maybe like here. Yeah, I think he is good. I think that's a good spot for Bashir. He is a great captain. Does he die? Does he die in the last battle? I can't remember. Like I say, I've only read the final like few books one time so far. I'm doing a reread at the moment through audiobooks. He is funny. He's funny as hell, and I like his interactions with Perrin as well as with Matt in Camelin and Andor. I think I'm happy with him where he is though, sort of like sat in the middle of A tier. I don't think he does anything so massive that... Like, not that he isn't important, he's a very important character. But we don't see him do anything that major, right? At least I can't remember anything. I might be wrong, but I can't remember it, and that, for me, is making me think... I can't remember his end, honestly. Yeah, I did like him and his wife though in those scenes with Perrin and shit as well. Tavern, sorry, I have to go. No worries. Thank you for coming. You're getting a what tattoo tomorrow? Oh my god, I've got one on my arm here. I don't know if it'll be possible to see. Got that whole melting clock face going down into crows and ravens with Dovey and this is obvious again on it. And I've got another one, but I can't show you that on stream. It's a Hurran mark, but it's in a sensitive area. But thanks for joining us, Davram Bashir. It's been a pleasure to have you here tonight. I can't remember who I was talking about. Who are we on about? Davram Bashir. Good luck, Ari. Yeah. What tattoo are you getting? Send us a photo. The Meme Reborn, welcome to the chat. Hello, how are you? Would you like to pick a character for me to put into my list next? Leave this here just for a couple seconds and then I'll get back to doing some more. I'll also use this opportunity to grind up some Two Rivers Leaf. We've got Manethran Mist today. It's a hybrid blend of sativa and indica designed to make you say Tai'Shar to your mother. Don't trust that plug. By the way, I am selling shirts now. Like, I did some designs of stoner stuff, so if you want a Two Rivers Leaf Company shirt, or Stunned Dogs 3-4 Cush shirt. Check the Zazzle link out in the description. Can you select all the characters? Well, I'll be doing them all eventually. Oh yeah, that was a great ending. Black Tau Podcast just reminded me. Davram, after Tenobia falls, refuses to take over and tells them to follow Lan. He dies in a cavalry. Yeah, that was a pretty good ending. Yeah, I'll give you that one. I mean, you can select them all. Just do them one at a time. Just tell me an order to do them, and then I'll just do them in whatever order I'm told. Basically, that's how we're running this. That and me just randomly picking people when when no one else is suggested. But so far, this is what the list is looking at. Death of Chivalry in 100 Years War. Gotta prepare for 420. You see, right? Who we got? Do you see Hopper? Hopper is here. I've got Hopper. Want me to do Hopper? Fight me. So, I've got Hopper as a B tier character. I think Perrin's feelings of Hopper give us more emotional attachment to Hopper than Hopper gives us to Hopper. I don't know why I repeated Hopper so many times. I do like him as a character, but I don't think he's not very helpful, is he? Let's be honest. He takes forever to get to the point. I did feel sad after his death, but like, at the end of the day, didn't really do that much, other than distract Perrin for a bit in the dream. I don't know. Just saying. B tier, yeah, I've got him in B tier. If someone can convince me otherwise, I do like succumb to peer pressure. So, ABJ in the chat, welcome, asking if I'm rating for coolness or what. To me, so I sort of explain this. I should type these in maybe for newcomers, or I can just go over it again, right? So D tier is get this person out of the series immediately. C tier is okay, I understand why they're here. B tier is this character's kind of interesting. I'm glad they're in the story. A is this character brings some really interesting dynamics. And I'd be upset if they weren't in the story. And then yeah, you get it. So that's sort of how I'm going off things. Without Hopper, Perrin never learns the wolf dream, no, just a weave. I'm getting a lot of slap back in chat here over the horror one. Oof. I know, but he does all them things. Yeah, he teaches the wolf dream to Perrin. But does he? Does he, or does he just sit around and go, "You shouldn't be here yet. You're too strong," and then like let Perrin figure it out for himself? I would argue that Perrin learns more of the wolf dream from Slayer than from Hopper. And I have Slayer lower in my list, so that speaks to me liking Hopper a bit more, I guess. But yeah, I've got him in B tier. I know people are not gonna like that one, but to me, Hopper's just not. I can take him. Well, no, I can't say I'd take him or leave him. I would be upset if he wasn't in the story, and I just said that's how I was doing it, didn't I? I understand why. I'm glad. I'd be upset if they weren't. All right, I'm gonna put Hopper at the bottom of A tier, and you're not gonna make me go any higher, no matter what. But I do succumb to peer pressure, at least when it comes to Wheel of Time character tier lists. Yeah, you're right there. The other one being Bella, I'm guessing, from ABJ. One of two natural beasts that plays a vital role in the last battle from the fight against the Shadow. Yep, you are correct. Let's not fall out here. I don't think anyone's getting too mad. Alright, I'll move on. We're going on to Elaine next. Now, Elaine is probably going to be a contest pick as well. But I quite like Elaine. And not as, like... Apologies. I don't like her as a piece of eye candy. I mean, I might, depending on who she's played by. But I like her because she's very intelligent, she gets shit done, and she clearly, like, she profits from everything. Elaine just slowly gains power as the series goes on, through seemingly not pissing anyone off. And that's pretty impressive, considering the lack of characters that are able to not piss people off. Yeah, I think she gets everything done that she wants to get done. She provides healing in the last battle. I don't like the whole file elements, but I think that's more of a problem with File and Perrin. I am quite fond of Elaine, and I'm going to put her in the A++ tier for now. Subject to revision should I need more room, but at the minute it's looking like A tier is going to fill up first. Mission accomplished. Why, you got me to change it? A for me. Creepy stalking sometimes. So much. Yeah, Black Tower podcast put it great. There's so much more to Elaine than what seems to be there. Her motives and willingness to sacrifice for her people. Yeah, I totally agree. Amazing character traits. She's a pretty face on the outside, but on the inside, she's an incredibly compelling character who works so her people can profit and succeed and grow. And that's pretty admirable in the world of Wheel of Time, because there's a limited amount of people who act in that sort of faith. Moving on. We have Card Swain. This one's gonna cause some trouble, I'm sure. No matter where I put her. Now a lot of people are like hate Card Swain, right? I think Card Swain's pretty cool. I think she is on point for accuracy of how a person who'd been alive for that long and been powerful for that long would behave. I do think she's a bit of a bully. And it's probably the only time I could ever vote in favour of a bully, because all her bullying, the only reason behind it is that she wants Rand to be able to succeed. She sort of introduces the concept of perilous nets, which becomes quite important, I think, later with the Angreal. She is one of the only links we have to Far Madding, which is one of the more interesting locations in the series. And also where Varian comes from, of course. But she is kind of annoying. So it's a hard one. But for me, I think I'm going to slot her in at the top of A tier and see how things pan out. Yeah, she is. She's Nynaeve plus 300 years, right? Or Egwene plus 300 years, or both of them. Like, she's exactly what you would expect an ancient Aes Sedai to be. The essential lesson was that he could laugh again, and he did on Dragonmount during Veins of Gold. So yeah, I'm gonna have Cadsuane at the top of here. We'll go with that. Couladin. Shouldn't have to talk too much about this one. Bottom of C tier. Pretty trash. Couladin's just like that annoying guy in the corner that you're waiting to get killed. Like, you know it's gonna happen eventually. You don't really want him there. He's just a nuisance. And then the Shido that come after Couladin are just like a continuation of him and go on for far too long, as we all know. So yeah, I'm gonna put Couladin in C tier. I like that Matt got to kill him, but that's a strength in Matt's character, not his. Talking about Couladin, right? And my biggest comment is, I like that so-and-so got to kill him. Yeah. Shows you why he's on the C tier of my list. I understand why he's in the story, but I wouldn't be mad if he was replaced with some other equivalent version. Demandred. I am going to put near the bottom of A for Demandred. Now I do like, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, should have been Time, should have been Demandred, whatever it was, but like, I'm fine with him not being. I really liked the fact that we heard about Shara. For so long we heard about Shara and like not heard much, but oh, there's stuff going on back here, guys. We should think about this. And no one ever does. And then he turns up with them, and I was like, oh wow, I'd totally forgotten about this. I would have liked his time in Shara to be fleshed out a little more. And I know that River of Souls did a good job of that, the short story, and I have read that and I enjoyed it, though I don't believe it to be canon from what I'm aware. I like Bow the Wild. I'm putting this Demandred in the list as Bow the Wild, not as what he could have been with Time because I like Time as a separate character personally. He does kill Gawain, yeah. That is a pro. That is a pro. And the impact that those Sharans and Demandred runs the last battle. Like, there wouldn't be an army of the Shadow without Demandred there. They would have just got obliterated without Demandred. But he does appear too suddenly without enough setup and without enough explanation to make us know or like or dislike the character. So yeah, bottom of A, not enough development for him to be higher, but like he could be in the Steve tier if he had more of a fleshed out background. Egyanin. Oh god, I've still got like over half of these. Now I'm not sure about this one, to be honest. Egyanin's a bit of an odd one for me. I'm not particularly a fan of her, but I appreciate the she gives us an insight into Sean-chan maybe not all being evil. And I think that does boost her as a character. But she's not... I don't really get why she ended up as Egwene's warder. I never really understood that. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't see them, like, together at all. I like that she ended up with Beldum, and I like their relationship and that he becomes her Sojin as well. That's cool. But I think Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to put her in B tier as a character who is pretty inconsequential in the long term. For me, at least to me. Now, I am still going strong here, guys, don't worry. Not planning on going anywhere, but I have been going for an hour and a half, and I quite need the toilet, so I'm going to be back just a minute or two. But I will leave these up on the screen, so y'all can figure out who you want me to bang into the list next. Just throw them out there in chat, guys, and I will be back shortly.
I'm at the top of the game. Ask the readers what they know about you. More time they've forgotten his name. Coming at me was an honest mistake. Don't know that's how you get chopped up. Came with an army and they got shocked. Your whole team couldn't keep man locked up. And here's how I know that you are fake. Your own sister turned you away. I've been messing with her for a minute now. I'm the reason she has problems sitting down. Wouldn't know how to feel about that blood. Wouldn't know why even try and act hood. Why talk like you came from the streets and were raised by the G's. Now nights on chat blood. What you know about trollops kicking your door in, dangerous chasing night to the morning. Your mom still feeds you with a golden spoon. And it is appalling. Keep my name out your mouth when you're spitting. When will he learn? When will he listen? I said cop my name when you're spitting, or you'll end up my next victim. The dragon.
Yo, yo, yo. Just having a quick look at the chat and catching up with you guys. Makes me want to know more about her culture. Yeah, I agree with that. For Agolma, and I think that's why she is where she is on my list. In B tier and not lower, is because she gives us that insight into the Shan culture. Gareth Bryan and Noel coming up. Alright, Gareth Bryan. So, I just started listening to Defies of Heaven like 2 days ago, so I actually listened to Gareth Bryan's Bryn's introduction into the story just last night on the page, other than when he's sort of like in Andor but doesn't really say anything. I can't find him actually. Where is he? Is he at B for Bryan? Is he at the end? Gareth, there we are. Boom. Alright, I'm gonna queue all these up that you guys are asking for in the order. We got Gareth, Noel, Finn. Jeez. I'll lose them when the chat goes by, so Taim and Tom. Tom. Here we go. Core Springs special. Yeah, so that Core Springs, I had the Core Springs chapter last night. I quite like Gareth. He does a lot in terms of the story, right? He touches a lot of areas of the world as well, which I like. Like, a lot of the great captains are sort of, they're stuck in their location wherever they are. You know, Bashir just sort of travels around with Rand. Agolma's just up in the Blight. Pedro Nile obviously dies, and Rhoda Little Rod's doing his own thing. But Bran sort of travels around and sees a lot of the land. And he's probably one of the more newest introductions we get to the great captains, as we see him chasing after Swan and co. I'm actually quite a fan of Gareth. I don't think he's such an amazing character that he's not Steve tier, you know. He doesn't do anything that I'm like, oh my god, wow. But I'm definitely gonna shove him near the top of A. I don't think he's quite A++, but I mean, do I not think he's on rank with these other characters? These are kind of weird standouts, these A++. The A++ tier is like the... This is going to be the tier that everyone's debating, right? The outliers. Yeah, I really like him in Saladar as well, and the fact that he basically founds the entire Saladar Rebel Aes Sedai army, right? Like, they wouldn't have an army at all without Gareth Bryn, so how'd they take back the tower without that? So yeah, I'm a fan of Gareth. I think I'm okay with him in this A++ tier. But he's not really shoving anyone out of the way to get there. Null Charin, Jane 5 Strider. Now, I like Null. He could have had more. Which I think is a lot of these people that are in A tend to be like... The reason they're not higher is because they could have had more development than what they did. Obviously, there's not enough time for that in a series with so much going on and so many other characters. But I feel like if I saw them more on the page, then he'd be higher. But because there's only so much of him there to look at, I can't move him up, even though I know the character probably is on a higher echelon than A tier. You know, like, it's Gen 5 Fast Rider. I can't say that he's not important. He's definitely important. And I really like his exit scene as well. Just the simplicity of it. If you ever meet Malchieri, tell him Gen Fast Rider died clean. Like, beautiful. And I loved that he just sort of bumped into Matt, and it turned out he was, like, under compulsion or something. But he fought it because he was that much of a strong force. Do we do him for Null or for Jane Fast Rider? Well, it's both, right? He's both. Can't remember when I first tweaked. I can't remember when it was for me, actually. I think it was probably when he said that he was his cousin, like to Oliver or something. When he said he was like Jane's cousin, oh yeah, I'm his cousin Null Charin, I was like, bullshit, you're him. But probably not before that, yeah. But yeah, I like Null, I like Jane, whatever you want to call him. I think he's a solid character. He could be a higher tier if he had more action, but as it is, happy with him in the middle of A. Padan Fane. Now, here's where I want Padan Fane to be. Here's where Padan Fane could have been if he had a satisfying ending. That last battle scene was not good, and it puts such a sour taste in my mouth whenever I think about Padan Fane. I can't justify him that high. I think he's gonna have to go in the B tier. I'm gonna have to like be a bit harsher on these, aren't I? Because this A is getting super full. But yeah, I just can't. Yeah, same for me, Matt Spooky Stabbing Stick. The anger about him ditching his family made it click for me too. Yeah. Which I think was the same scene as when he said he was his cousin. But yeah, it was probably that more than him saying he was the cousin that made me think it. Where did I drop Finn? B, yeah. Yeah, I think I have to put him there just because of his ending. And I'm sad about that. Because he's an interesting dynamic through the story that is outside of the black and white lines that are drawn elsewhere. You know, he's not for the light or the dark, he's his own being. And I appreciate that, and I love how that ties in with cleansing the Tate eventually in Shadow of Goth by using its evil against it. There's a lot of factors, obviously, even the second book is pretty much all driven by Paddington, you know, by him running away with the horn and the dagger. And that dagger's obviously very important. And Paddington has some really cool moments as well, and does some really important things. Had his moments, but not really relevant in the end. Ben is saying in chat, and yeah, I think that's basically what I'm trying to summarise up here. That in the end, it was just such a letdown that it was a missed opportunity, and I think Brandon knows that, so I don't need to harp on about it. Not that you'd see this anyway. Taim. And I hate that I have to say it like this as well, because I just called him Tame in my head forever. But I've conditioned myself now to say it correctly. Taim. Mazrim Taim. So I'm not gonna consider anything to do with, like, Demandred here, because I already said when I was doing Demandred that was as Bow, and I like it that way, and that's what it ended up as, so I'm accepting of that. This is simply going to be Taim on his own. And I think Taim is a very effective character. I don't think he would have been if Rand wasn't stupid about him. But nevertheless he was. And he didn't really make any wrong steps. I mean, other than siding with the Shadow, obviously. But I mean, he didn't make any wrong steps in his goal of corrupting the Black Tower. He did exactly what he was meant to do. He made an army of Dreadlords. Yeah, he's a terrible person, but like, he's pretty much unchecked until his final scene. I think I've got to put Taim in the A++. And yeah, he is one of the characters that I really love to hate in the series. One of the villains that I really despise, but with good reason, and it's because of how obnoxiously lethal he is, I suppose. So yeah, I think Taim there. I'm happy with Taim there. He's the only one. Yeah, he's the only person to become one of the chosen after the fact. Like, nobody else earns that, and to be honest, he does more to earn it than half of the Forsaken that were from the Age of Legends. Like, next to Agenor, who came back as, like, was it Deshiva or Narishma? I can never even remember. Did fuck all for a second time? Taim there, not even a Forsaken to begin with, doing more than the actual Forsaken. It doesn't make sense, you know. He was so ahead of the curve, and my question more with Taim is when he turned to the Shadow, because he wasn't mad when Rand found him, but he also wouldn't have been in a position where Demandred would approach him before that, because he was on the run as an undercover dragon. So yeah, I'm sticking with that as time top of my A++. And let's do Tom next. Now, Tom's going to be right there with him, but no higher. And there's a reason for that. And when I think of it, I'll let you know. No, I'm kidding. It's a live stream. Just reading comments. I mean, you get defeated by the Amalency, literally discovering a weave that even the Age of Legends didn't know. Pretty bad. Exactly. Exactly. He only got defeated by a weave that didn't exist. Right? Who was I on? Oh god, I already dropped them in. I dropped somebody somewhere and I'm not sure where they are. Tom. Yeah, Tom. That was it. Tom. So, Tom, A++. Don't think he's Steve tier, because... Why don't I think he's Steve tier? For some reason, he's solidly an A++ to me, but I can't think of him as any higher, and I can't put my finger on it why it is. I love Tom as a character. I guess I reserve the Steve tier for those that go above and beyond. Like, A++ is still pretty perfect as far as I'm concerned. But Steve's like ascended god tier, you know. So yeah. Yeah, A++, enough said. I don't need to explain. Not any further, anyway. Well, I think at the end of the queued list that you guys asked for, so I'll move on to Egwene. Now. Is everything okay? Is the stream still live? Looked like something went a bit dodgy there, but not quite sure. Now Egwene. Some of y'all are going to get mad at me for this. Yeah, a lot of his epicness is in the background, that's true. That's true. Egwene. Nah, I can't put it that low. Am I kidding? Alright, she's not in the Steve tier for me. And she's not going to be the only one of the Emmonsfield 5 that isn't. But she is an incredibly powerful woman. Even more so, the fact that she isn't Tarvaran and manages to do all the amazing things she does. She has a lot of redeeming moments. She has a lot of moments early on that make me dislike her, but the amount of development her character goes through isn't just a good arc, but it really shows her growth as a person, her growing up, her becoming accustomed to like what she needs to fight for, what's important, and what it means to be an Aes Sedai and to fight for the side of the light. And of course it's an interesting parallel to Rand, because it's the opposite version of him, in a way. And yeah, there's not really a lot more to say. I don't have her in a Steve tier, just because there are certain books, even, where I'm not that interested in what she's doing. All the Aes Sedai and Saladar's a bit meh, even though I appreciate her political power and manoeuvring. The setting's not the best for it. But yeah, definitely has some of them moments. The Shanshan Rebellion, the change in the White Tower, like taking over the White Tower as a prisoner. Yep, very badass. I'm with you there. She's a solid character. There are just some moments that I can't allow her into my perfect tier, because of some things she does, like the seals. The argument with the seals was just dumb. I know that's an obvious one to point at, but it's the first example that comes to mind. Elida. Okay, so Elida is one of those characters that you definitely love to hate. Like, she's a phenomenal villain. She's despicable, but not actually a dark friend, as far as we're aware. And that's a really interesting character to me, because how many characters did Ajay have who were bad guys, but not dark friends? I mean, I suppose the Sean Chan, kind of, but some of them were dark friends, so it's too broad as well. Like, Elida's a specific example of someone who is clearly not working in the best interest of the people of light, but not because she's evil, just because she's, like, stupid and infected by Padden Fane, maybe even a bit. But she's a very compelling character to read. She makes... Why she does what she does makes sense. At least when you look at it through her perspective, and not a moral one. I think for me, Elida's going to be on the lower side, simply because of how easily she is to manipulate. I think she has to go below Alviarin. But she's a really important character in the series overall, and I'm glad she's there. Also, happy 420 to anyone who is in the UK, and if you're not in the UK, it's 420 here, may as well be for you. Make sure you light up that Stone Dogs Free Folk Kush. Elida is so good at showing how being incompetent can look like evil. 100%. 100%. She's the embodiment of corrupted by power without being a dark friend. Yeah, and I think that's what I like so much about her character. That there isn't many other examples of that in the series, other than the Sean Chan as a whole. But again, that's not specific. I like Elida. I'm glad she's in the story, even from her first appearance on the page in The Eye of the World. You know she's going to be a problem. I thought her ending was very fitting, given how much she ignored Egwene trying to warn her. I thought that's exactly how I wanted her ending to go, so I can't complain about that. Yeah, she's solid in A++. Joining me there, Ben. Take a moment to give y'all who are here with me live an exclusive preview of the song. Check out this chorus. That you can't hear, because it's playing out the wrong thing. I'm leaving this up so you can vote on characters as well, by the way. That's why I'm doing this. So we can get some of those character votes in. Oh wow, it's really not going to play. I'll do it later. We'll do it at the end. Be a nice little preview of an interesting song that I've got coming up. Should we deal with a big boy? Take a look at Rand. The Dragon Reborn himself. I've put him in there right next to Loyal. I'm actually not sure which side he should go on. Rand's a phenomenal character. I don't need to tell you that he has one of the best character arcs in arguably all of literature. Rand is phenomenal. Yeah. I'm not going to go into a huge breakdown of Rand because I could talk for hours, but his mental torture, everything that man goes through, you feel, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to see him played by Yosha in the show. Olva and Tan. Okay. I'm gonna do Oliver and Tam. I saw Tam earlier. He's there. Where's Oliver at? Our ugly boy, our ugly kid. Oh, he's here somewhere. There we are. Alright, Tam all 4. Best best dad in fiction. Big fan of Tam. I'm looking forward to seeing Michael McCulhatton go from playing the worst dad in fiction and fantasy to the best dad in fiction and fantasy. And I can't wait to see him make that transition, honestly. Tam is a king. He raised Rand despite not being his own. He gave him the Hurran Mark sword. He came back, and when his son almost bale-fired him, he stormed straight to the woman who brought him there and shouted, "What did you do to my son?" If Tam's not in your Steve tier, you are wrong. Tam is one of the most phenomenal characters in the Wheel of Time. He has a fantastic scene in the last battle, lighting the way for Lan Mondragoran. Come on, guys. I only hope they're going to make him like more important in the show. Not more important, but give him more of the role that we saw him grow into in the later books. In that middle-ish period. I would like him to be more with Perrin for the whole journey rather than with Perrin in the Two Rivers and then in the Two Rivers for ages while Perrin's away and then randomly join Perrin again later. I would like Tam to be there for the whole thing, and I think that could make Perrin's arc with the Shido better. If Tam was there. Especially the cutting Elias from the show, which I'm fine with, by the way. I suppose I'll get into that one soon as he's at the top. I will do Oliver after that. But Elias, I'm not that big on him. I get why he's there, but he's not an important character to me. I think there's other ways you can get it done. I think it adds more mystery in the show, especially to not have somebody explaining the wolf thing. And I think his impact later is next to nothing. Like, he basically gives Perrin some dating tips, and literally anybody else could have done that. So yeah, I got Elias in C tier, guys. I know a lot of people really love him. Yeah, and just going back, Tam is actually one of the only characters that makes a real effort to communicate. He does, 100%. Chases after his son, even if it's off screen. Hopefully it won't be in the show. Hopefully they'll show Tam like and Abel going to Tarvalon. That'd be amazing. Moving on to Oliver. I'm sort of a bit behind with the chat. I end up talking to chat about the last one while I'm doing the next one because of the way it works with the delay and everything, but it's all good. Oliver. So, Blacktop, what I just said. Elias and Gnome, I think, both serve as plot devices to show more of like the different directions a Wolf Brother can go. I actually like Gnome's character better than Elias, and I hope that if they do turn Steppin into a Wolf Brother, he turns into a Wolf Brother in a similar way to what Gnome did, and runs off because he's crazy with the loss of his Aes Sedai. I haven't figured out where I sit on the whole Steppin' Wolf theory yet, but if they do it, I'd prefer it to go the way of Gnome than the way of Elias. But it is important to show that it can be done, I guess. I just don't know that it seems too convenient for Perrin to meet him like straight away. Like, why'd you get a guide figure in book 1? How is that fair? Matt and Rand didn't have guide figures. But it is what it is. Moving on to Oliver. Unsung hero. Blew the horn in the last battle. Arguably is one of the reasons why Matt's character developed so mature in such a short space of time. Yeah, I call Matt mature. All was great. He's not like, obviously he's not huge, he's not powerful, he's not a gigantic plot device, but without Oliver you wouldn't have Warren back. What can you say other than that, really? And who knew that snakes and foxes, like me personally, reading the books for would that mean Steppin becomes boundless? Yeah, possibly. I think that could work. I think Steppin would make a better gnome than an Elias due to the impact of Kareen's death, assuming Kareen dies. I think it's more likely to drive him to that, like, to that boundless level, yeah. He does force Matt to grow up. If Matt didn't have a surrogate child, then he wouldn't have felt like he had to be, you know, there's always the ongoing joke of, oh, who's he getting this off? His uncles, the band's bad, they're a bad influence on him. I know that's like an ongoing joke, but it actually reflects in how responsible Matt acts and how responsible he feels for other people. He has his sense of responsibility and then takes the horn. And also, what I was about to say is that I never suspected snakes and foxes to be an actual, like, thing that mattered. I thought it was just a game that they played, and it was just an annoying game that you could never win, that would be a way for them to spend time together and to get that character development. I never even considered that it would relate to the actual snakes and foxes, other than in Matt's internal allegories. And I thought that was fantastic. So, all that being said, I think Oliver's going into my A++. And I'm going to put him between Time and Basil Gill. So, just looking back over at chat a little, I think, so my theory is Steppin is a wolf brother and that's why he got bonded. After his Aes Sedai he goes full gnome. Yeah, that could work. I love how Matt sees Oliver flirt and looks down on it, and at some point just goes, I do that, I should be better, at least keep it away from him. Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. Without Oliver, you wouldn't be able to see that side of Matt, really. And I don't think Matt would have been able to see that side of Matt, perhaps. But even just as his own character, Oliver goes through so much shit before he's even really grown up. He's a hero. You can't really put him any lower than A++ in my opinion. Now who have we got next here? Now I can leave the rest of the choices up here for a while, because I'm not going to need lower than... I'm not going to need higher than B tier for this next one at the top of the list here. It's Fail. And I'm not a fan of Fael. I think a lot of people are not a fan of Fael, and I think a lot of people are a fan of Fael and stand for her. But for me personally, just like if I was in Perrin's shoes, I would have like just got rid of her as soon as she did the Waygate thing with Loyal. I would have been like, no bitch, I can't trust you with anything. Get out. Get out. And get some Lanfear going too. Yeah, we'll get Lanfear up there. We'll get that Lanfear up there. And Varian as well. Course. What else we got? Starts with Mordians and they get worse to deal with in shells. I'm not sure who you're talking about there. Yeah, File for me is a weak character. I don't think I can put her in D tier because she does do some stuff. Like, she's not as bad as Arum, right? I don't hate her, I just hate her at points. And that's enough to put her in the C tier for me. Name one decent Mordian in the books. Padden Finn. Unless you mean like a decent person. But like a decent character, Padden Finn. Yeah, exactly. So Fail's a good example of that cultural gap that gets shown so much in Wheel of Time, especially like amongst the Aiel is the easiest example of it. But even in the wetlands, the difference between Soldain culture and Two Rivers culture is such a clash, and Fail really does refuse to accept Perrin's ways, at least until she sees them more in the Two Rivers. And just expects him to know her ways. And that is a lack of communication, and it's something the character suffers from. Yeah, the whole bullshit with Loyal just... I hope they find a way to cut that for the show, and then maybe I'll hate her less. I don't know. I don't think I'd be mad if they had her character but cut the trickery with Loyal. Let me know what you think about that.
Make sure to head down into the comments and vote for who you think won this battle.
Lanfear, the Innkeeper's fave. Oh shit, guys, we've been going for 2 hours. Thank you for those who have been here the whole way, and for those who have been here since you discovered it. It's been fun so far. It's sort of time flown by, right? At least it has for me. Lanfear. I am gonna put her sort of towards the middle top half of A. I don't think she's effective enough to be higher. I find her really intriguing and interesting as a character, but her end goal just seems far-fetched. Like, make one of the boys fall in love with her and turn him to evil. Why? Like, have your own goals, you know what I mean? She seems to latch on to other people rather than pursuing her own interests. She's kind of weird. She's a bit. I mean, she's obviously very stalkerish, crazy ex-girlfriend, right? But like, then just switching from Luce Therin, who she spent millennia in love with, to Perrin, seemingly, seemed weird, random. So I don't think I can put her higher because she's just not effective enough. But she does play some really interesting parts in the series, and I wouldn't get rid of her by any stretch of the imagination. Without Lanfear, Moiraine doesn't go into the other realm, and that's an important part in developing Rand's character. You know, there's a knock-on effect everywhere. But yeah, I think she's a solid character. She's a solid character who very much deserves her position in the Wheel of Time, but she's not so amazing that she goes higher than A. Varian, on the other hand, is actually going to usurp Nynaeve for the number 2 spot. Never be on the dusty wheel again for putting Lanfear just on A. A's not good enough. Relit this so many times now, it just keeps going out when I'm talking. Yeah, so I just put Varian in there. At the top, pretty much, just below Matt. Only because I'm such a Matt stan. Varian is perfect. they're on the same level, really. I mean, these sort of top 5 are all pretty equivalent for me. It's a very narrow margin between them. Yeah, I don't know what to say about Varian that hasn't been said before. She really is a perfect character. I wouldn't change a thing. Wouldn't change a thing. Furyk Creed. Now, Furyk Creed's an interesting character. And I think the most memorable thing about him is that he thinks Tom is onto this elaborate plan to capture the Daughter of the Nine Moons. And I find that so comical, and just such a great example of how rumours change with telling, and it's kind of funny how bad the Sean-Chan Seekers are at what they claim to be the elite at, right? They're meant to be the elite gathering information private investigator force, essentially. And they concoct this message to give to Furyk Creed, accomplished warrior and protector of Tuon, that, like, Tom is at the heart of some White Tower plot to capture her. And I just found that really quite funny. While he was such a serious character, it made that a really nice contrast. Yeah, I quite like Furyk Creed, but he doesn't really do enough to be, like, really high up. But I think he's a solid B. Wondering whether Padam Fane should be higher, but no, I stuck to it from that ending, from his bad ending. Okay, this list is looking more full now, guys. How are we feeling about this so far? I reckon in the next 20 minutes or so we might be done. For definitely the longest video to be on this channel, and I'm finally stubbing that join. Right, I'll do both. Did I already do Gawain? Alright, I already did Gawain. I'll do Galad next. Galad is a character I'm a bit conflicted on, actually, because for a lot of the series, I just don't like him. I'm not interested in him. I think he's got a dumb worldview, and I don't understand it. But the last few books really did him justice in redeeming that, and I guess it just... maybe it took a bit too long for me. I think I needed to see more of that explored earlier on, and there was a slight bit of it in after the girls, Elaine and Nynaeve, leave Tanchico. There was a slight bit of it. Thank you, Black Tower Podcast, saying I give a lot of good reasons for my choices. I appreciate that. I'll try and give a detailed enough breakdown without just rambling for too long. But yeah, Matt Spooky Statistic saying Galad actually shows a lot of growth. Yeah, I think that's sort of the camp I'm at. He does grow a lot. It just seems to happen very quickly, rather than paced carefully over time like it could be. I think if his development was paced better, he'd probably be like top of A++ for me. You know, maybe even S tier. But because it happens so suddenly, and seemingly like it could have happened at any other time, but it didn't really, like, him and Perrin didn't really have that much interaction beforehand, so I don't get why that was the catalyst for him, other than Perrin being Ta'Veren, which just feels too convenient. Like, if Galad can't realise that there's morally grey areas between right and wrong until he meets a Ta'Veren, like, he needs to meet a Ta'Veren to realise that. That's sort of what I'm getting at. So I think he's going to be at the top of B tier for me. Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about that Glad one, but I think he could have been a stronger character if it was just paced better, if his development was paced better. Gaul, the king of the Isle, the king of stoned dogs. Of stoned dogs. Freefall Kush. I love Gaul. Gaul is honestly one of my favourite characters. He has such a good bromance with Hurran. He provides quite a lot of insight for Perrin into IEL ways, which also comes at a time when we're struggling to understand them through Rand's point of view. And it's a really interesting foil between them. And I'm a bit distracted. I felt like I had to take the time to plug this while I'm talking about the stone dog himself. I'm not gonna leave it up forever. Yeah, Gaul's gotta be like up above Taim, definitely. I don't think he can go above. He helps Perrin in the last battle, even like. Yeah. Yeah, and oh yeah, and just going back, yeah, Galad did have an epic duel with Valda. I do really love that fight. But love the way of the Hurran's interpretation of it on YouTube as well. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. B for Galad is okay. Yeah, Gaul's a Steve or A++. Got him right at the top. You can't smoke and you want one. Why not? What's stopping you, man? I'm in the UK. It's not even legal here. Oh, what? I didn't say that. Anyway, moving on. Grendel is the next in the list. Yeah, sorry, I was sort of on Gaul, wasn't I? Yeah, like he even partakes in the last battle with Perrin, in Teleran Riod, right? Can we please just take a moment to appreciate the fact that Gaul steps into Teleran Riod in the flesh, having never been there before. It takes Perrin 14 books to learn how to do this. It takes Egwene 11 books to learn how to do this competently. Gaul just gets dragged in during the most important fight for humanity, and he's just like, alright, I see what's going on here. Starts beating people up. So fucking good. Ah, that's a shame, man. That's a shame. Well, you can still get the merch, even if you can't smoke. There's there. Alviarin D? Are you crazy? TRW 974. Are you crazy? Olver is incredible. Don't. Oh. You missed that section. It's weird as well, because my chat's over here, so that's why I keep looking this way, even though the camera's here, and the tier list is here. I keep looking this way to look at chat. That's why I'm like off the side for most of this, because I'm more interested in what you guys are saying than what I'm doing. So thank you for being here, that's basically what I'm saying. Grendel. I quite like Grendel. I think she's really effective. In the last battle, I love the trick she plays at Natrim's Barrow with Halima and Rand when he balefires it. That whole trick is amazing. Her using compulsion on the great captains was phenomenal. and worked flawlessly until it got discovered, which was going to happen sooner or later. So you can't really knock her for that. I think she embraces Hessalam a lot better than she could have done. It could have affected her a lot worse to lose that self-identity, but she seemed to take it in a stride pretty well. I think Grindel's a solid character. I might actually be tempted to put her in the S tier, unless I hear some reason or logic to tell me otherwise. Oh yeah, it sucks if it, yeah, it's, illegality sucks. Everybody should be able to smoke in peace. It's better for your health. Hashtag light up everywhere. And Mistress of the Soul, she really is. Grindel's fantastic. There's not a lot I'd change about her, and so I do think she is deserving of the Steve tier. I do. Halima, on the other hand, not quite as impressive. Original incarnation, I believe, was Balthamel, who wasn't really that much of a character. Halima, on the other hand, she does some interesting things, and I like the dynamic. And I think it's important representation as well, even if it's not done entirely the right way on the page. It was an attempt to do that, which I think is important. I like that she seemed more comfortable almost. Although never saw her before, but it almost seemed like she enjoyed life more in her reincarnation. And I do appreciate that aspect of the storytelling. I mean, Balthamel always wore a mask, right? I do think there's some sort of allegory there, and maybe it wasn't done perfectly. But for its time, I think Halima is quite important. However, her impact on the plot, aside from causing Egwene's headaches, like, she doesn't really do much. She doesn't really do anything, she just causes some headaches, which I thought was going to be more of a big deal than it was. It didn't really turn out to do that much. So, I think she's going to go at the bottom end of A for me, because I appreciate the importance of a character, and I wouldn't want to remove her from the story by any stretch, but I think her involvement with the plot could have been expanded to be like, I thought there was going to be some actual consequence of the fact that Egwene was having all these headaches and Halima was doing, I thought she was using compulsion to like make Egwene make bad decisions or something, but it was literally just headaches, right? Like, yeah. I think she's there at the bottom of A for me. Up next, we've got our big nose boy, Hurran, the loyal, the faithful, the only sniffer in all of the land. When do you meet another sniffer? Does that happen? Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. Yeah. Hurran's just a king, right? He's the only one who can literally the only person we ever meet that could have done what needed to be done. And what needed to be done wasn't just chasing down the horn and the dagger, but making Rand realise that he can actually lead people. Temple tap. So I'm comfortably putting Hurran in A++. Now I am going to put him at the bottom of A++ because he's not around for enough of the series. I do like that he makes a return. so much later on in the series, but you know, he's missing for so much of that middle part, and I think he could be utilised more. I think they could like just slot him into any army that goes forward from the point where he is. Like he could hang around with Perrin for a bit. That'd be cool. And maybe even a way to sort of like discern the difference between what he does and what Perrin does by giving them more time to develop that relationship. But yeah, I think I'm comfy with her in there. Ingtar, our dark friend, returned to the light. Ingtar's a bit of a tough one, because I like him, but like in terms of how effective he is, how good he is at his job, he's a dark friend, and he like scores a massive touchdown for the other team, right? By helping get the horn out, and the dagger as well for Matt's sake. So like Ingtar's, he's bad at his job, to say the least. But he's a really nice character. He is one of the first examples in the series of, oh shit, it can really be anyone. Like, I think up until the Ingtar reveal, you don't realise how infestatious the Dark Friends are. And he's a really important way to bring that aspect forward. So, yeah, I don't think I can rate him based on his efficiency and effectiveness at his job of being a Dark Friend. It was just a funny point to make. But I think Ingtar, I think without Ingtar you would lose a lot of that, oh shit, the Dark Friends are really, everywhere. So, I am going to put him in my A++. You don't buy his redemption? Literally, he held a narrow passage against 40 men so the Horn of Valir could be taken away. Like, Ingtar had a great redemption. And yeah, the motivation of, he could be the Dark Friend to blow the Horn of Valir and have the Horn of Valir on the side of the Dark. That's huge motivation, and yet he stepped away from that and helped the side of the light instead. So yeah, I'm pretty comfy with Ingtar up there next to Egwene and Taim. Alright, we're getting there, guys. I'm gonna bust through some of the less notable ones quickly. Or the ones I have less to say about. Mazema is hot trash. Cut him, don't care. Cut the Shido as well. Perrin can do something else for 3 seasons. Yeah. Cut Mazema, cut the Shido, post Fires of Heaven events. Give Perrin something else to do. Let him do the White Cloak stuff and the Slayer stuff in that time instead. Yeah, Mazema, hot trash. Get out of here. Julian Sander, I really like and I appreciate, but I don't think he brings anything particularly different. That other people don't like. He's kind of a copy and paste of many other characters, but just given a different nation. And that is interesting. It does give us some insight into what the Tyrant people are like. But I think we get enough of that anyway from Swan and from just all the other tyrants that we meet along the way, that it's not necessary for it to be given in his character. I like that he ends up with Amathera, that's cool, but I don't think he does anything to really put him above any of these other characters, really. Now I think about it, I think he's probably like, I think this is better. Liana, I really like Liana, and I just had that Core Springs chapter, like I said, and it made me think. I'm really excited to see Jennifer Cheong Garcia transition from stony-faced, snippy Keeper of the Chronicles that we see in the teaser trailer to flirting to get out of a barn with Gareth Bryn. Like, I'm really looking forward to just making that change, because so far I totally see her in the first version from what we've seen in the teaser, but I can't imagine her in the flirtatious, domani, seductive way, just based off that shot of her that I'm thinking of in the trailer. I don't know anything else about her, but I'm really excited to just to see that change happen and to see, you know, that character come to life, because I think it's a really interesting dynamic that is really only explored through her and tells us a lot about our demand before we go there, just through her story. So I've got her quite high. I think Leanne's probably, she's above Ludra, but I don't think she's quite important as some of the other characters here we've got above her in A. So yeah, I actually said more about Liana than I expected. Right, okay. Eesh. We're getting down to it now, folks. Lamrandragoran. Now, just catching up with chat here, talking about whether the horn could be blown or not. Okay, I'm not quite sure what y'all are on about, so I'm gonna keep going. Lamrandragoran. I don't think anyone's gonna dispute this. Steve, not as openly badass as some of the characters above him, but very silently badass and deserving of a top spot. Has some of the best moments, lines, and scenes in the series. Some of the most quotable. Can't wait to see Daniel Henney portray him in the Amazon adaptation. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about some of these S tiers either. If they're at the top or the bottom, it's very easy to get through them. It's all this middle portion that's quite difficult. Liandron. Now, I'm a bit torn here. I do despise her, which means she's a good villain, right? But I despise her to the point of, like, it makes me kind of sick to think about her. So, like, she's much lower in my rankings, probably. Lan equals Steve, no doubt, 100%. I'm not sure about Leandron. I feel like, to me, she's just a bitch, right? Like, she's not even that effective, she's just a bitch. She's kind of, yeah, she's at Couladin level. I'd put Leandron on the same tier as Couladin. That actually, oh my god, it's just occurred to me that I can use the ranks of other people to figure out where to put people. How have I been doing this for 2 hours and 33 minutes and I've only just realised that? Jeez, this is going to save some time. Alright, log in. Yeah, I have him pretty much on par with Cadswain. I feel like Logain is the foil to Cadswain in a lot of ways. At least come the end of the series, you know, he's going to be the leader of the Black Tower and she's the leader of the White, so I guess that's where that point of view comes into it. I think he has the potential to be a Steve tier character in the TV show, especially with the ways they're expanding to him now. They're expanding him, and I'm really excited for that. Really excited to see how he comes across in the show. She does deliver 3 of the strongest discovered channelers to the Shan, otherwise pretty useless. Yeah, that's true. That is a point in Leandron's favour. That is the one thing that she does that is effective. But she didn't even do that, like, flawlessly. It didn't really work, did it? You know, 2 of them got away and then came back and rescued the others, so... You know, even that wasn't that effective. Who was I on about? Logain. Yeah, I'm really excited for Logain. Hopefully he rises to Steve through what I see of him in the show. But right now, he's sat there next to Cadswain in A tier. Now, Val and Luca would be very easy to put into D tier for the fact that if you get rid of Val and Luca, you get rid of the menagerie. And that sounds like a good call. But I actually like the menagerie. And I like Val and Luca as a character. I just don't like the amount of time we spend with... I don't wish that they'd never existed. Like, I'm glad that they're in the books. They just could have been 10% what they were. So... And I don't think Val and Luca is the worst part of the menagerie. Like, I think he's quite a comical character that you sort of... He's a bit of a knob, but he's only a bit of a knob. Like, he's not full-on evil, so it's kind of refreshing to have someone that's only a bit of a knob, not full-on evil. But yeah, I can't say he does a lot for me to make him any higher on the list than C. Wow, she got them there and basically told the Shan they're your problem now. I love his world building qualities. Is he a failed tinker? Is who a failed tinker? Logain? Even about Logain being a failed tinker? Or Val and Luca? I'm so confused. Save this ranking when done as a book-based one and then do enough with the TV characters as we see them. Oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Might have to wait a while though for some of these characters to come up. But yeah, I will save this anyway when I'm done with it, and this video will be available afterwards, but... Should we get through this last section, guys? Magidian. One of the more interesting Forsaken. Sticks around till the end of the series. Doesn't do an awful lot. Aside from teach people that we need to learn quite a lot. I think I've got her about this same level as Alviarin and Elida. So, it's just figuring out, and I think she has more depth of character than either of the other two. And I think that within the Forsaken there would be one that was the Spider who was always hiding out. And I really like the amount of time we get with her character. So yeah, I'm gonna put her right there before Basil Gill. Actually, I think she can probably go above Basil Gill. Warren. Warren. See, this is a tough call between the A++ and the Steve for me. I do like Warren. Yeah. I didn't like her in the last battle. It didn't feel like she had enough of a use to me. And bringing her back felt kind of pointless because it was just for the Dragon's Peace thing, which was odd. Which is probably like what happened after she was brought back from the Tower of Genji is probably why I don't want to put her in my Steve tier. Because I don't feel like she did very much after that. And I feel like they could have given her more to do. I don't know what, but I feel like she should have had more to do. She deserved more to do than what she did in the last battle. Essentially being a battery for Rand. And I know that she was the only one he would trust other than Nynaeve, and that makes perfect sense. But I feel like Nynaeve had her other purpose within that battle, healing Alana, and Mordian probably should have had 1, 2. So I'm going to put her at the top of my A++ for that reason. Morgase. Now I think Morgase is a very strong, intelligent, commendable woman who does what she has to and does what she thinks best for her people. So I'm going to put her in the A tier. I don't hate her story. I don't hate following her like a lot of people do. I think Morgase is a really important point of view in this world, and at first it seems very disconnected, like why are we just following her away from all these other people, but it does eventually link up, and I like that we get to see all those different points of view as she's in Camelin and then escaping through Amadisia, and afterwards, you know, she's just running essentially until she catches up with Perrin, and then figuring out if she can trust him. I really like Morgase. I think the Talonvor thing went on a bit too long before that was a bit silly. It was like, who cares, you're not even a queen anymore. But, and the trial was dumb. But I like Morgase. I think she's an important character. More than some people give her credit for. Perrin, for me. Perrin is my least favourite of the 5 from Emmonsfield. And this might hurt some people. It will. That he's not in my Steve tier. But Perrin, for me, there's just so many dry moments. And like I was saying earlier, you know, if you cut the Shido after Fires of Heaven, if you cut Mazema after the Great Hunt, maybe the start of the Dragon Reborn, like, or resolve it somehow in Ghealdan while he's still there preaching as the prophet, then you can use Perrin's time to do the whole White Cloak and Perrin storyline, the whole Morgase and Galad storyline. You can do all that while the interesting stuff's happening with the others, and, you know, you solve most of the problems. But the fact that those problems are there is why I have to not include Perrin in the top half for me. I do love a lot of Perrin's moments. Don't get me wrong. That's why he's still in A++. He has some phenomenal moments. In the Shadow Rising just a week or so ago, like the scene after the battle for Emmonsfield, and Fael's just like, I hate to be forwards, but perhaps you could spend some time alone with your wife. And Perrin just boots Stepper in the heel and gets him to gallop forwards. I like that moment where it's just like, I could see Marcus Rutherford doing it in a scene, you know what I mean? I do like Perrin, don't get me wrong at all. I have a lot of love for Perrin, but he has too many slow moments for me to justify him being a perfect character, which is what I'm sort of saying this Steve tier is like my would not change a thing list. Pavara, I think, needs to be similar level to Androl, just a bit lower down. I think Androl has a more interesting dynamic with gateways and talents than Pavara does hunting for the Black Arger. And I think that could be balanced, but the hunt for the Black Arger originally came from someone else. I think it was a woman called Sien Sadai, maybe? That might be right. I think if it had come from her originally, then maybe they'd be more equal, but I have her as a bit less of an important character because she wasn't really the one to kickstart that. But yeah, I really like how her bond with Androl gets explored and how they begin to realise that they don't have to hate each other. I think that was a really fascinating aspect that Sanderson added to the later books. So Pavara, I'm struggling to put her above some of these others though. I think she actually has to go in A because I'm really struggling to put her above like a lot of these other characters. I think she goes around here, and I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you, Ben, saying fantastic effort for our first live stream. I've really pushed through it, right? 2 hours and 45 minutes, jeez. This might be too long to go on the channel. I don't know. Ravin. Okay, yeah, there's like 83 characters in this list also, so it's longer than most people's tier lists. I thought, why does everyone's list have so few characters in it? Little did I know, because it takes 3 hours. We'll get this done before 3 hours, I promise. Ravin. Okay. I like Ravin, but he could be developed a lot more. I think he's probably like in a B tier for me, just because he sort of came in, did his thing, got killed, that was it. It could have... We didn't really see a lot of it. A lot of it happened behind the scenes. And he was really powerful, he had a strong effect on the plot. But a lot of it was behind the scenes, off-camera stuff, and for that reason, I'll put him straight into my B tier and move on to the next bad mother on this list, which is Ruark. Ruark, my boy. If Grindel hadn't turned him to mush, he'd be Steve tier, but I can't say that Ruark is perfect because Grindel turned him to mush, and that hurt me so much in the soul. Getting feels. It's okay, guys, we can get through this together. Yeah, Ruark is... I'm gonna say he's at the top of A++ because he's perfect, apart from his ending. That's the only thing that I don't like, and I only don't like it because I'm not emotionally equipped to deal with it. Yeah, so I'm gonna put him at the top of my A++ Ruark. Rodel Itarald. Now, Rodel Itarald is somebody that I consider Steve tier, even though he's not in the series that much. I think every time he is on screen, so to speak, it is really entertaining. He's a fantastic character, he's really fun to read, hopefully he'll be really fun to watch. And he's very accomplished at what he does and one of the most successful great captains. So, has to be in the Steve tier for me. Semirhage. Now, Semirhage is pretty mute for me. I think I've got to put her in a C tier, simply because she had so much potential as a character that was unfulfilled to me. She had so much potential to be like the most sadistic, horrible, dangerous forsaken of all, but then she just appeared for like half a book and was no more. So, bit disappointing for me. Bit disappointing. She was fairly effective, I guess. She took Ran's hand and she almost, like, took control of him. But, turns out that didn't work. So, yeah, pretty ineffective for me and pretty low on the list. So Tai'Shar, I really quite like. She has some interesting moments with Matt that lead to some of his better character development. And yeah, I really like her. She carries a lot of Ebu Dar and the later Menagerie for me. And she's just a great character to have around. So I think she's a solid A choice. Savannah. Ugh. Get out of here. Okay, so she's slightly better than Couladin, right? She's slightly better than Couladin. But, yeah, cut her after, like, book 6. Cut her after book 6. She dies in Jumai's Wells. Then I'm happy with her. If she lives in after Jumai's Wells, then she's a C tier. I'm fine with it up to that point. Anything after that is excessive. Sheriam Sadai, you can tell that I'm getting less high. Because I'm singing, apparently. I'll stop that. Don't want to embarrass me. Sheriam. I really like Sheriam for a lot of the story. I think she's an interesting character that it is fair to be suspicious of. And then I think the last sort of book or two with her in it, she just turns into such a wimp, which I know is kind of because of Halima torturing her. But it's just like, what are you doing? Like, you know, you just sort of, you were badass for quite a while. Sheriam was badass for quite a while, I thought. She was like someone who was, I thought could be evil, but I thought if she was evil, she'd be better at it than she was. Not like crappy kind of evil, ineffective evil. So I think I'm gonna have to put her at like the bottom of B tier. She has more potential. I mean, all these characters that are lower down anywhere on my list below Steve are only there because there wasn't enough time for them to have more in the story. If there was, they'd probably be just as perfect characters, but there wasn't, because there was so much other stuff going on. So it's no slight on them as characters. Sylviana I really like, and we didn't get much of her in the story, but she is the red I'm here for, more than Pavara, so even. I think she's probably just above these two. Maybe here. Yeah, Sylviana, I really love that the dynamic with her and Egwene, and showing that Reds and Blues can work together. All of that good stuff. Big fan of Sylviana. Perfect for her and Egwene. That really fleshed out and allowed you to feel that Egwene was converting the White Tower from the inside. I think most of that happened because of Sylviana, and I'm glad that she got chosen to be the Keeper of the Chronicles afterwards as well. I thought that was a really nice move on Egwene's behalf, and on the writers. Swan Sanshire. She's another character that has more potential, but kind of became a bit lame as the series got towards its end. Yeah, I think she's in a, yeah, she's around here somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I love Swan. She's a great character. I love how all her Tai'Shar fisherman backstory and all the jokes and lines she says. I just feel like the back end of her story does start to tail off a bit. I have thought her death was way too just like blink and you miss it, and that she deserved more than that. But yeah, I mean, could you really make the last battle chapter any longer? And it kind of gave it more impact in a way, that it was so glossed over. I think she's really important for nurturing Egwene, and that can't be underestimated. And yeah, I really felt it when she got torn down. She just did, yeah, Matt's spooky stabbing stick. She lost her edge in the later books, yeah, she did. I think I'm happy with her there, though, in the A++. Sorrel for me, pretty much like the Isle equivalent of Cadsuane, but slightly less of a bully, so probably a bit higher up. And I think she sits there. She's a parallel of Cadsuane, but from an Isle perspective, basically. And she operates slightly differently because she's an Aiel and not an Aes Sedai. She's a wise one. And I slightly prefer the way that she operates, so that's why she's higher up on my list. Sulin would be higher, except after she stops being Gaishen, we sort of don't hear about her anymore. Up until that point, her story is pretty phenomenal, but I think after the Gaishen thing, like, she just sort of fades into the background. And I didn't really dig that. I felt like more could have been done with her after that point. But yeah, that's it really. Talmanes. Now, I do love Talmanes. I think he's a really interesting character. I think he's really funny, especially Sanderson's version of him. I don't think he has enough going on to justify Steve tier, or to be above some of these other characters that have more of a place in the plot. That being said, Sylviana should probably be a bit lower on this list. But yeah, I think Talmanes sits comfortably in A++. He has the epic prologue of A Memory of Light, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Sulin A, but drops off with Brandon. Yeah, I think I'm in the same opinion. I think Brandon maybe forgot about Sulin a bit. She was good up until that point, but yeah. And Talmanes, on the other hand, grew better with Brandon. Brandon really nailed him, and then the last book, that was a phenomenal sequence. You were really on his side. So yeah, Talmanes in the A++. We're almost there, folks. Can we do it? There's like 2 minutes left before we've been going for 3 hours. Alright, Herod fell. Bang. Would be higher if he didn't die so soon. Found it kind of weird that it was unexplained why the Golem went after him. Would prefer that to be more in depth in the show. Chew on. Fuck out of here. Hater. Can't stand her. Can't stand her. I know she's important, but at this point, like, you know, we're getting down to it. And I feel bad for anyone rewatching this back that has to watch for 3 hours. And kind of for you guys, actually, as well. I don't know why I feel bad for you guys. Let me know if that's wrong. I'm still new to this streaming business. Why was he killed? So yeah, I think the Golem killed Herod Fell, but exactly, like, that wasn't explained good enough. So I think while Herod Fell as a character is very strong, I love his inclusion, his death wasn't explained enough. he can't be higher because of that. Yeah, 2 on straight in the bin. Like, yeah. If it wasn't for 2 on, we could have a Ludra and Matt, or Brigitte and Matt, or anyone other than 2 on and Matt. Uno's like pretty competent. He's around for a long time. He's effective for a long time. He's funny. He's got personality. Like, who doesn't love Uno? I think he probably actually deserves to be a bit higher in this list. Probably right there, yeah. We know who killed the Bard, though to some this causes trouble, but who will how fell? Or was it just to clear the rubble? No idea what that means. Colivia, she is a piece of trash, but she's a piece of trash I understand, and that actually is kind of interesting to watch. I thought it was dark, but an important aspect to show how much the high lords and ladies in tier think of themselves when she killed herself. Unless I'm misremembering that. I've been going for a while now. So yeah, I don't think she's D tier. She's not like a character I want to cut. I do hate her, but I think in a way, yeah, I think she's a more interesting antagonist than Semirhage. So that might be a hot take, but we have lots of hot takes around here. Just 3 left. Dharma Flynn. He's like the male version of Nynaeve, but much less effective, much less personality, and much less page time. So he's sitting in B as a character that I appreciate the existence of, but kind of hit or miss. Kind of just there in the background. Galena. Her and 2 on are just dancing here in last place. Put it that way. Yeah, Galena's hot trash. You get rid of her story right alongside Savannah and the rest of the Shider. I mean, the one saving grace of Galena is that it was, I think, one of the more overt examples of a lesbian relationship, but because she was evil, it almost portrayed that in a bad way, and so, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, not bad for Galena. The Golem, however, was quite an interesting antagonist, and we are going to finish off now, Ben, and thanks for sticking here the whole time, YouTube, Matt, Spooky, Star and Stick, and everyone else who's been in and out throughout the process. It's been a wonderful first stream tonight. Appreciate you being here. Now, the Golem's quite an interesting antagonist. He's around for a while, and you literally can't kill him. So, like, he's cool. His end scene is cool. Everything about him is pretty effective from start to finish, so I think I'm pretty comfortable with him here. And that does, in fact, finish the list, guys. Let's see if I can get this all in one view, maybe. Download image. No, don't open it in fireworks. One of the greatest captains, their mum there don't know about tactics. You need practice, I may be old, but I'll still grab him. Straight up gang ting, left in the street, no need for a cast. Okay, that's gonna be more than my limit, innit? Apologise, guys, this is a bit of a weird end. I was basically trying to get the full list up, but I'm just going to ramble through it quickly, because I'm struggling to display it all on one monitor for y'all. So, top to bottom, we've got Matt, Varian, Nynaeve, Loyal, Rand, Lan, Tam, Mordian, Iterald, Min, Beldum, Bella, Grindel, Ruach, Moiraine, Tom, Gol, Egwene Ingtar, Taim, Olva, Perrin, Swan, Uno, Magidian, Basil Gill, next to Magidian and Soralia there. Soralia, Alviarin, Elida, Androl, Berling, Gareth Bryn, Talmanes, Sylviana, Hurran, Heridfell, Cadswin, Lugin, Avienda, Elaine, Lanfiaz, Mordian, Liana, Ludra, Golem, Null, Ishame, Bashir, Pavara, Morgase, Alana, Hopper, Ben Angiad, Satala, Demandrid, Halima, Sulin, and then the trash tiers. Dama Flynn, Ravin, Galad, Padam Finn, Fury Creed, Egianin, Balwa, Julian Sander, Pedro Nile, Agolma, Sheriam, and finally, Colvier Samarag, Savannah, Geofram, Slay, Gowan, Cooladin, Leandron, Elias, Valen Luca, Fail, Aram, Mazima, Galena, Tuon. I don't know why I decided that was a good idea, y'all, but there you go. I rattled through a list of names. I hope you guys have had fun in this first stream. Some people just tuning in at the end though. But yeah, thank you all for being here. It's been a pleasure. I've loved chatting with you guys. I've loved having sort of this little dialogue going on. And I did actually promise to give you guys a little preview, so I'm gonna load up my file here and give you all a little sneak of a new song, which I'm gonna be working more on very soon. Well, the song's done, I just gotta work on the video now. And thank you to those in chat. There's a message in a language I don't understand, but thanks for being here. And the Wave of the Leaf, been watching in the background, thanks for being around as well. Ben and of course Matt Spooky Stabbing Stick being with me all the way in Black Tower as well for quite a while now.
Hey, forsaken loose, crystal sword I'm dripping. Drop the truth, not half the eye I'm missing. Eyes to die, they all got me tripping. I can feel the pain, I think I'm slipping.
Manefron boys got the eagle on the flag. Carry the team if it breaks my...
And that's all you get for tonight, guys, but look out for that one coming soon. Thanks again for watching. I've been James from